Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing on this beautiful New Year's Eve, man? Great day for family and friends and loved ones, but also a great day for football. As we all know, since the college football playoff has started, New Year's Eve has become synonymous with a great day of football, along with the celebration of the New Year's. Hope everybody had a great Christmas, man. Really hope everybody enjoyed it. Had a great time with your family, friends, loved ones, your kids. Hope you got that gift you've been wanting to get. Whatever it is you've been seeking for Christmas that you wanted, man. I hope everybody got it. Blessings and prosperity to everybody heading into the new year, man. And hope things really work out for you here going into 2025. And just reflect back on the things that you were lucky to have in 2024, man. All the blessings that you receive, and just life in itself, man. Just waking up another day, just to have another shot at life and getting it right, man. So, just want to say thank you for all for tuning in, man. Back with another episode of the Locker Room. I'm your host, Kalal K. Y.M.E. Whatever you want to call me, just make sure you call me, man. And let's get right into it. Last round, man. It was a huge disappointment. A huge disappointment, man. I definitely appreciate moving to 12 teams, and it was great to see. But the road teams just didn't come. They didn't come to play. They didn't show up, and we knew coming into the first round that home field advantage and college football and playoffs something we never seen before. So we knew it would be a huge advantage for those teams, and that's exactly what showed up. That's exactly what showed up, man. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna recap each game, and after we recap that game, we're gonna get into the next game also. So that's how we're gonna do it. Like we're gonna start off with Indiana and Notre Dame. Just a short, quick recap of that game. Then we're gonna move into Notre Dame versus Georgia. So that's the format we're gonna use here today, man. And I was disappointed, man, in Indiana. Like I said last episode, I really felt like they had a good chance to win this game. I mean, they lost 27-17. That's not a very wide margin. I mean, 10 points. But when you watch this game, you can see Indiana was definitely overwhelmed. Indiana was overwhelmed. Their offense couldn't generate the explosive plays that it wanted to. And Notre Dame's pass rush showed up. Notre Dame's pass rush showed up. I spoke how they didn't have a great pass rush. They could get home, but they showed up for this game, man, and they really impacted Curtis Rourke, and he really couldn't find a rhythm. He couldn't find a rhythm, missed some throws. He was able to make some plays, but had a huge interception. Kid Xavier Watts, he showed up big, made a big interception. I believe Indiana was in the red zone, and kind of changed the tide of this game. And Notre Dame, they just overwhelmed Indiana. Indiana first time being in a game of this magnitude. Uh, this university has never ascended to these heights before. Notre Dame, they have not been able to win the championship, but they are used to playing in big games. Just a university that is used to playing in big games, and they just overwhelmed them on both sides of the line of scrimmage. They overwhelmed them, and they were able to run the ball. Notre Dame offensive line definitely showed up. Those running backs showed up. Huge 98-yard touchdown run when they were backed up into the against their own end zone. That was a huge run. Definitely changed the tide of this game. And Notre Dame, they showed all the things that made them a good team. They showed all the things that made them a good team. Indiana had a chance, but they just couldn't get anything going. They could not find a rhythm. Defense didn't play too bad. They did enough to hang around, and give the offense a chance, but they couldn't get it going. But they also couldn't stop that Notre Dame run. That Notre Dame run game was really a factor and the determining factor in this game. And the quarterback also made plays too. The quarterback also made plays too. We can't take that away from them. So good job, Notre Dame, on advancing in the first round of the college football playoffs. And now your reward, It's number two seeded Georgia. Number two seeded Georgia. Now we know what Georgia has been these past years. Dominant program, always in the running for the national championship. Was back to back national champions. Left out of the playoffs last year. Some people felt that it went the way it should have. Some people felt like that wasn't right. Felt like Georgia was deserving an opportunity to defend their national championship. I believe they should have been given the opportunity to defend their national championship, but nonetheless, they did, and they're back at it this year. So Georgia, we've known them, like I say, dominant defense, great players on both sides of the ball. This year, not really too many big household names. Carson Beck really being the biggest name, but he won't be playing for this game. He's still out. Gunnar Stockton will be taking over. And Gunnar, he showed the ability to make some plays last game in the SEC championship. But also at the same time, we also saw why he was the backup quarterback. Even though he was thrust into that position unexpectedly with Carson Beck going down. So with Georgia having time to game plan and really try to bring him along and bring him up to speed, we'll see how the game plan changes. Will they run the same offense they run, or will they just dumb it down a little bit and try to depend more on that running game with Nate Frazier, 634 yards, 8 touchdowns on 129 carries. Trevor Etienne, 111 carries, 571 yards, 9 touchdowns. Trevor Etienne, I especially like him. He can definitely make plays out of the backfield, running and catching the ball. He's a good back. Frazier also is a good back. They've been splitting the load. So I believe that's what Georgia's going to lean on. With this team not being particularly explosive, with Gunnar Stockton at the helm, maybe he surprises us. Maybe this kid does come out and make plays throwing the ball, which at some point during the game he's going to have to, especially if that Notre Dame defense played the way they did in the first round and able to generate the pressure that they did the first round. I'm not sure if they'll be able to generate that same pressure going against Georgia's offensive line. Georgia's big uglies, they pretty good offensive line, and Georgia, they scored 31 points a game. They give up 21 points a game. Now, see, the defense is going to lead the charge. When Carson Beck went down the first round, the defense really stepped up. And the guys around Gunnar Stockton stepped up too, and they made plays. But that defense is really going to have to lead the charge in stopping this run game. They give up 129 rushing yards a game, which, that's pretty solid, man. That's pretty solid when you're talking about big-time college football. So we'll see how they fare against Jeremiah Love and see if they can really put a stop to him and also rally in the running game. And if Notre Dame would try to put the ball in the air and rely more on their passing game, they have Arian Smith, 47 catches, 750 yards, 4 touchdowns. So that lets you know that this kid is making big plays. And they got Dominic Lovett, who I like also, 56 catches, 571 yards, and 6 touchdowns. So, those numbers might not knock your socks off, but these guys can make plays with the ball in their hand. If Gunnar Stockton will be able to distribute the ball and get it to them and see what kind of plays these guys can really make. On defense, Michael Williams, good player up front, 5 sacks. Jalen Walker, 6.5 sacks. Chaz Jambliss, 6.5 sacks. So they have 3 guys that don't necessarily generate a ton of sacks, but they do generate pressure and they can get home and make things uncomfortable for Riley Leonard. If Notre Dame does have to get in a position where they have to drop back often and throw the ball, because, like I say, good job against Indiana, but you stepping up to another level of competition here. When you're talking about Kirby Smart, one of the best coaches in college football, and the talent that Georgia has, and Dalen Everett in the back end, 3 interceptions this season, but we all know that kid's a good defender. That kid's a good DB. So we're going to see what kind of game plan, excuse me, y'all, phone ring, that Notre Dame brings into this game. But like I say, not as many big names as Georgia usually has on both sides of the ball, but Don't let that confuse you with this Georgia team not being able to get it done. SEC champion, they ran the gauntlet, defeated Texas in the SEC championship. So this team is more than capable of making a run at the championship and more than capable of beating Notre Dame. But Notre Dame is going to have to, I believe, in my opinion, they're going to have to make Gunnar Stockton uncomfortable. They're going to have to make Gunnar Stockton uncomfortable, okay? This kid hasn't played a lot of football, and they're going to have to use that to their advantage. Number one, what they're going to have to do is stop the run, because we know Georgia is going to lean on the run, knowing that they have an inexperienced quarterback back there, being thrust into the start role so late into the season. So late into the season. SEC championship to the playoffs, that's a lot of pressure on the kid when you talk about a team with as much expectations as Georgia has. So he's going to really have to step up. But Notre Dame's going to have to stop that run game for number one, put Georgia in third and long situations, and they're going to have to really get after Gunnar Stockton. If not get home, you're going to have to flush him out the pocket. You're going to have to make him uncomfortable. You're going to have to make him see ghosts, make him see things that aren't there. And Notre Dame, they look physical. I will give them their credit as far as that goes. This team looked really physical up front on both sides of the ball. So we're gonna see. We gonna see where if Notre Dame can really hang in here with Georgia and see how it goes. Also, Marcus Freeman, his first time being in the playoffs. Great coach. I like Marcus Freeman as a coach, but he is coaching against Kirby Smart, as we said, one of the best coaches in college football. A man that has coached the team to back-to-back national championships. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Notre Dame can do. What Notre Dame can do. A friend of mine, he said he liked how Notre Dame looked. Feel like Notre Dame can make a run playing the style that they played. And I said, yeah, I can see that, but also we got to see how they act against a team with greater competition, a team with greater talent. We know Georgia, they just spit out 5 and 4 stars. They just spit them out, man. Guys, third string, 4, 5 stars. But at the end of the day, you got to show up on the field and you got to play ball. So we will see how it goes. I mean, my prediction, I have Georgia in this game. I do think it will be a close one because with Carson Beck being down, I does think that puts Georgia in a position where they have to somewhat alter their game plan. And not a huge fan of Carson Beck. Not saying that he can't play football, but all the hype that he was receiving, I wasn't necessarily on that train. Doesn't think he's a bad quarterback. Definitely has the ability to make the plays, but just not a big fan of him. But I do think he have the ability to make plays, and would be a better option than Gunnar Stockton in this game. But we're going to see how Georgia operates with Gunnar Stockton. If he can stay away from the mistakes. Number one, the team is talented enough around you. Your defense is talented enough to win this football game without you making mistakes. You can't put Notre Dame on a short field with turnovers and fumbles. And, so we'll see how Gunnar Stockton performs. We'll see how he reacts. If Notre Dame can generate pressure up front and see what kind of pressure they can put on him. So, but I do believe Georgia will be victorious in this game. Gonna move right along here. Okay. Clemson versus Texas. Now, Clemson started off this game good. They started off this game good, moving the ball, being able to score. But things kind of got stagnant for them. And once Texas offense got rolling, they were really in trouble. Game 38-24. 14-point margin of victory, but they were able to muster 24 points. But the defense, like I said, they wasn't good enough to hang with Texas, man, and that's no surprise. And Clemson would have had to put up 40 points against that Texas defense to have an opportunity to win this game, which that's a tall order. That's a tall ask to ask out of this Clemson offense, but Georgia's this. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Texas just did what Texas does. They did what Texas does on both sides of the ball, man, and they just smothered Clemson, man. And they just did what they wanted to do on offense. Were able to generate the big plays. get Quinn Ewers going, get the running game going. And Clemson's defense really didn't stand a chance. They couldn't stop Texas once they found their rhythm and got going. But give credit to Clemson, man, for putting up a fight. They did what they could with the amount of talent that they do have. But Texas is just that talented on both sides of the ball where Clemson they couldn't hang. They couldn't make it a shootout. Like I said, they were able to score and generate 24 points, but they couldn't win a shootout. Not going against that Texas defense, and Clemson's defense definitely wasn't good enough to hold Texas from turning it into a shootout. So Clemson's run came to an end. Texas moves on. Congratulations for advancing and through the first round of the college football playoffs. And their reward is having to play Arizona State. Number 4 seeded Arizona State, 11-2, Pac-12 champions. Now we know Arizona State is the high seeded team, but we really know who the favorites is in this game. We know it's Texas. We know it's Texas. And Texas, when you really look at it, Clemson first round, Arizona State second round, that's really a favorable path for them to get to the college football semifinals. But they're going to have to stop Cam Scatterboo. Yes, Cameron Scatterboo. If you haven't seen this young man play, this young man is a load. He's a load. This kid can move, and he breaks tackles. He runs with intention. He runs with purpose, and he's just a hard back to bring down. He's just a hard back to bring down, and he's gonna make plays in this game. I do believe he's that good of a player to where he's gonna make plays in this game. Now, can Arizona State withstand that Texas defensive line? That'll be a story that we'll have to see unfold during the course of the game. We know that Texas is definitely going to be favored. Arizona State, they scored 33 points a game, but they only give up 21 points a game. That's solid. That's solid. So we're going to see if that could translate to this game. They average 432 yards per game. Defense gives up 333 yards a game. So 200 yards rushing per game. They give up 117 yards rushing. So they have a pretty good defense against the run. They have a pretty good defense against the run, but they haven't played a team like this Texas team with Jaden Blue and Trey Wiseman running the football. As we know, 2 running backs over 500. You got Isaiah Bond and Gunnar Helm making plays on the outside. So I don't think Arizona State has seen a team to this Texas level. Now, we all know that the games from here on out are on neutral playing fields. So, home field advantage won't be a factor. But Arizona State, they got a tall task, man. They got a tall task on their hands. Sam Levitt, quarterback, 63% completion percentage, 2,663 yards, 24 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. Also, 383 rushing yards on the season with 5 touchdowns. This kid can make plays if you haven't seen him play. I watched him play. This kid has the ability to make plays with his feet and with his arm. And playing off Cam Scatterboo, and I feel like play action will help him out tremendously if they can get the running game going, really get Cam Scatterboo established, and then they can play action and give his guys one-on-ones on the back end, the ability to get open. We'll see how that goes. But Cam Scatterboo, 263 carries, 1,568 rushing yards, 19 touchdowns. Also, 37 receptions for 506 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was the second leading receiver on this team. So they really depend on this kid. They lean on him heavily. And he's gonna have to carry the load. They got Jordan Tyson, 75 catches, 1,101 yards and 10 touchdowns. So this kid can make plays also. And that's why I say if they can use the formula that they have been using to win by getting Cam Scatterboo going and force Texas to bring guys down in the box to stop that run, they can get this kid Jordan Tyson one-on-one on the outside and see if he can make some plays against this Texas secondary, which we know is good. They have a good secondary. But if they can get him in one-on-one situations, try to generate some deep plays, hit them deep, really get rhythm early and get going early, maybe they can make it tough on Texas. Defensively, they have no one over 6 sacks, so they don't generate a ton of pressure. No one with a ton of interceptions. So, but like I said, they're solid against the run, though. They're solid against the run. Not particularly, no real big names on the defensive side of the ball. No disrespect to anyone, but this Arizona State team, they are sneaky good. They are sneaky good. Some people didn't feel like they deserve to be the number 4 seed. So this would be the opportunity to show up and play and show people, hey, we are as good as our seeding says, and really get an opportunity to beat this Texas team. This is a great opportunity for Arizona State University. Um, and they're gonna have to get Cam Scatterboot going. It's just point blank period. This team is not gonna come back, drop back, and distribute the ball and make plays and try to win a shootout in that fashion. They're gonna have to play ball control offense. They're gonna have to keep that Texas offense off the field and wear out that Texas defense by trying to tackle this kid. Because I'm telling you, this kid runs the ball hard. This kid is a load. He will be playing on Sundays. Cam Scatterboot, yes, he will play on Sundays. So we're going to see how that goes for Arizona State. As far as Texas goes, I think they just continue to play the ball that they play. Aggressive and physical on the defensive side of the ball. They're going to have to be coming up, make tackles to stop this kid. And just doing what they do offensively by getting the running game going and making plays with Isaiah Bond and Gunningham on the outside, which I think they would be successful at doing with Arizona State. Like I say, not particularly having a great defense, but they are good against the run. I have to give them that credit, and they convert at 46% offensively on third downs, which is a good number. That's almost 50%. So if they can keep themselves in third and short situations, which they usually are, with their ability to run the ball, that's why their conversion percentage is so high. Then this team gonna have themselves in a good position, man. So we're gonna see, and that's why we play the game. I hope it's a good one. I hope all these games are good ones. The first round wasn't like that. We're still happy to see the games. Still appreciative of the 12-team format, but this round, let's hope all these games are close, and let's hope all these games are a battle. My prediction: Texas. I know it might be chalk that I'm going with so far, but I just feel like Georgia and Texas, they're just too good to let these games, these opportunities slip by. Especially with Texas having the opportunity to go to the national championship last year and having that great game with Washington. Great game with Washington. Michael Penix just made plays in that game, and I feel like Texas they're back for revenge, and they want to get another run at it and get another shot at that national championship and finally get there this time. So I'm gonna take Texas. Just don't think Arizona State has enough defensively to hold Texas down for 4 quarters. And although, like I said, I like Cam Scatterboot, Jordan Tyson over 1,000 yards. They're gonna need other guys to step up and make plays. But I'm leaning towards Texas. But we'll see how this thing goes, man. Moving right along. Now, Penn State versus SMU was just a wipeout. They just overwhelmed this SMU team. I told you this Penn State defense is no joke, man. They got a great defense, and they also have the ability to make explosive plays on the offensive side of the ball. I told you that's the difference in this team this year. The quarterback play, that ability to generate big plays through the air, also on the ground, we know with the two great running backs that they have, Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton, two great backs. But the quarterback play is the difference. And SMU, they really didn't have a chance. They didn't have a chance from the beginning of this game. Penn State came out, they staked their claim, and they let it be known to SMU early that this would be a long day for them. So SMU couldn't do anything on either side of the ball. So, I mean, Penn State just smothered them, and they did what Penn State do. Now, Penn State moves on. Congratulations for advancing in the first round of the college football playoffs. And they'll be going against the number 3 seeded Boise State, 12-1 Mountain Conference champion. we know the story. We know the story with Boise State. Ashton Genty having a historic season, has a chance to break Barry Sanders' all-time rushing record for yards in a season, which is just unheard of. Unheard of. We thought that no one would ever get near, no one would ever get close to that record. 2,600 yards in one season, man, that's ridiculous, man. So you really got to give this kid his credit. And people would say, oh, well, he didn't really have that the level of competition. He didn't really play nobody. He smoked Oregon first game of the year. They only lost by 3 points to Oregon. So that's the thing about this team. People think this team is just, oh, man, they just dominated the Western Conference. But they lost only by 3 on the road to the number 1 team in the country. And Ashton Genty ran for over 150 yards on this team. So he had his way. He had his way. And this team, they averaged 37 points a game. Defense only gives up 22 points a game, 458 yards per game. And we know 242 yards rushing per game. They only average 215 yards a game through the air. Is that because lack of ability, or is that because the running game is so great? And they don't have to go to the air like that. So they do convert 48% on third down. That's top 10 in the nation, which you would expect from a team that runs the ball as well as they do, being in third and short situations. But they do give up 112 yards a game on the ground. So this is a team that really is good against the run. Good against the run. Giving up 112 rushing yards a game, that's great, man. That's great. This team can only play who's on their schedule. They can only play who's on their schedule, so that's why we're going to see how it goes when they line up against this Penn State team, who has an excellent running game. We just spoke about it. 2 running backs over 800 yards, man. And they swap these guys out, similar styles, but also different enough to put different type of pressures on the defense. So behind that great Penn State offensive line, we're going to see if that number is real or not. Boise State giving up 112 yards rushing the game. Now, of course, we think they'll give up more against a great team like Penn State. But if they can just stop that run just enough to put Penn State in third and long situations and make Drew Allar how to make plays with his arm, which we know he has the ability to do, but just making them a one-dimensional team, that gives Boise State a great chance. That gives them a pretty good chance to really compete in this game with their running game, which they're going to run the ball and try to have time of possession in their favor and control the ball for the majority of the game. Because Ashton Genty, man, 344 yards, 2,497 yards on the ground. 344 carries, I apologize. 2,497 yards and 29 touchdowns on the ground, averaging over 7 yards a pop. You know, I mean, this kid is great, man. But it's a lot to ask for him to carry this team to victory against this great Penn State team and great Penn State defense. Maddox Madison, the quarterback for Boise State, 62% completion percentage, 2,714 yards, 22 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. He's going to have to stay away from the turnovers. Interceptions or fumble, they're going to have to stay away from the turnovers. They're not good enough to turn the ball over and still try to beat this Boise State team, in my opinion, anyway. I don't believe they are. I don't believe they can afford to do that. So they're going to have to protect the ball. But Cam Camper, 55 catches, 837 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's explosive. That's explosive. That means this kid generates big plays because he has one-on-one coverage. Because those guys got to come in that box to try to stop their run game, which gives him an opportunity to make plays on the outside. Matt Lauder, 43 catches, 523 yards, 6 touchdowns. So we're going to really see, man, we're going to really see what this Boise State offense can do against this great Penn State team. They do have Jaden Virgin on defense, Boise State that is, 10 sacks, 16 tackles for loss. Ahmed Hassanin, 8.5 sacks, 13 tackles for loss. So they have guys that can generate pressure up front to go along with that good run defense. But we're going to see how that translates to this game. And if they can put Boise State in a good enough position to win this game, hey, I mean, we know they're the underdog, man. People not expecting this team to have a chance, but like I say, don't forget they only lost to three by Oregon. I mean, to Oregon, first game of the year on the road. So that's really saying something. And they handled competition all throughout the year. Everybody else that was on their schedule. So we're gonna see if this Boise State offensive line can push around this Penn State defensive line. You know, so and that's a tall task. That's a tall order with a kid like Abdul Carter over there, who will probably be the best defensive lineman that Boise State has played against this season. So, like I say, I'm leaning Penn State. I'm leaning Penn State. I feel like that running attack that Boise State, I mean Penn State has, it's just asking a lot to stop, man. To go along with the explosiveness that they can generate through the air, also. And I just think Penn State defense is too good to allow Ashton Genty to defeat them by himself. Is Ashton Genty going to run the ball? Yes, sir. You better believe it. Not saying that he's not going to have a big day. I'm not saying that, but I do believe that Penn State's defense as a whole is just too good to allow one man to defeat them. Now, if Boise State can play action and take advantage of the one-on-one matchups on the outside and generate big plays through the air, that's the thing. If they could just generate the big plays, those field position changing plays, where they put it in the gutter, Genty, pull it out, and they can hit a guy deep for 30, 40, and really flip field position and put themselves in a position where it's easy to score points, that would be productive, and that would definitely work in their favor. But we're going to see, because don't forget, Penn State's defense only gives up 103 yards on the ground. And I'm pretty sure they're going to stack the box, and they're going to trust their 4 and 5-star guys in the secondary to make plays one-on-one against Boise State's receivers, tight ends, and backs. So I'm definitely leaning Penn State, and I believe most of the country is. But hey, Boise State, that can work in your favor, man. That can work in your favor. Feel disrespected. You're the number 3 seed, and you're the underdog. You should feel disrespected. No one's giving you a shot. You should feel disrespected. So we're gonna see how that turns out for Boise State. Penn State, Boise State. I'm leaning Penn State. And we're gonna see how it goes, man. We're gonna see how it goes. Now, our last game we're gonna talk about, which, and I said this last time, Ohio State, Tennessee. I thought it was gonna be the best game, but I do think this Ohio State Oregon game will be the best game. But nonetheless, let's touch on this Ohio State Tennessee game first. Embarrassing, man. 42-17. Tennessee, they just really couldn't do nothing on the offensive side of the ball, which I think led to that Tennessee defense just being tired and just not having belief in their offense and just getting roughshod ran over them by this Ohio State team who played like a $20 million roster. They showed the $20 million roster. The $20 million roster showed up in the first round of the playoffs. This Ohio State team that we've been expecting to show up, they showed up and played. In all facets of the game, they dominated. Defense did, ran the ball well. Will Howard played good football. And like we talked about on the last episode, which Will Howard was going to show up for this game. And the Will Howard that they needed to and going to continue to need to show up throughout this playoff run is the one that showed up. And they were physical on both sides of the line of scrimmage, which we know they have the capabilities of doing. They really showed up and played Ohio State football, man. Tennessee, freshman quarterback, like I say, and this kid, he played hard. He played hard. I have to give him his credit. He was really out there trying. He's trying to make plays with his feet, with his arm, but it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. And I think Tennessee will continue to grow off this, and I think they'll be back. I think Tennessee will improve moving forward. When you have a talent like this kid at quarterback, receivers, backs, linemen, they're going to want to come play for them. And with them making it to the playoffs, I do think Tennessee will improve and keep ascending from here. But Ohio State just dominated them. 42-17. And also, as I spoke earlier about Indiana, Tennessee, uh, first time being in the college football playoff. This is a storied program, but they haven't played in games of this magnitude in a long time, as far as postseason play goes. So, and Ohio State's used to this. So, and they showed it. They showed it along with that home field advantage, which just dominated the first round of the playoffs. But congratulations, Ohio State, moving on in the first round of the playoffs. Uh, moving on to your reward. Excuse me, y'all. Sorry about that. Your reward is playing against the number one seeded Oregon Ducks, 13-0, Big Ten champion, and this is a rematch. This is a rematch, y'all, from a great game that took place earlier in the year, where Oregon narrowly pulling out the victory. But that was a great game, and Ohio State was on the road for that game, and they went in. They went into Austin Stadium, and they really played a great game. Were able to do some things, but they couldn't come away with the victory. So we know what better time to get back is during the playoffs. It's during the playoffs. I know that for a fact. I know that from firsthand. I know y'all probably don't want to hear this, but I coached 13U Silverbacks, and we lost to a team in a scrimmage. We lost to them in the regular season. We played them again in the regular season. We beat them, but we also had to play them in the playoffs, and we sent them home, man, and that was a great feeling. It's nothing like sending that team home that you really want to get back on. But nonetheless, back to the topic at hand. Um, Ohio State going against the number one seed Oregon, 13-0, 37 points a game. We know this team is explosive. They got exceptional speed on the outside. They got great speed in the backfield, but they only give up 18 points a game. And that's the surprising thing about this Oregon team. Oregon teams in the past, they've always been able to score. They've always been able to put up points, but their defense usually lets them down. And also how physical they are up front will let them down when they match up against the Ohio States, the Alabamas, the Texases, the Auburn in their national championship. And but this year, man, this team on offense they average 446 yards per game, but they rush the ball 177 yards per game, man. This team can run the football. They're very explosive, 7 yards per play. That's top 5 in the nation, and they convert at 50% on third down. Number 5 in the nation. So this team knows how to stay on the field, also while being explosive and having a great running attack. They give up 309 yards per game, which is 10th in the nation. They give up 132 rushing yards a game and have a top 10 secondary at 176 passing yards a game. And they get teams off the field at a 33%. Teams convert on third down against them at 33%, which is 1 out of 3. So, you could take that as a defense. We getting off the field 2 out of 3 times on third down. You can live with that, man. Dylan Gabriel, 73% completion percentage, 3,558 yards, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Dylan Gabriel, man, this kid's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's an older quarterback, so he's experienced. He's played a lot of football. Never played in the college football playoffs, but he has played a lot of football, played some big games at Oregon. So I think he'll be just fine. We'll see if he'll be good enough to make the plays to put them over the top in the fourth quarter, because I do think this will be a close game. Jordan James out of the backfield, 226 carries, 1,253 yards, 15 touchdowns. Also with Noah Whittington, 112 carries, 537 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And that's why I say this Oregon team can run the football, man. They can run the football. So it's not all on Dylan Gabriel. And that's what really makes this team dangerous, because when they get the running game going, and now you got to try to stop the run game, and you got a kid like Tez Johnson, 78 catches, 868 yards, 10 touchdowns, his great speed, and Trayshawn Holden, 38 catches, 602 yards, 3 touchdowns, 38 catches, 602 yards. So that shows you how explosive this kid is. Tremendous speed. and Evan Stewart, 48 catches, 613 yards, 5 touchdowns. You have three guys over 600 yards receiving. To go along with a tight end, Terrence Ferguson, 38 catches, 520 yards, 3 touchdowns, who's also explosive. So you got four guys over 500. Four guys over 500, so they can really spread the wealth around, which really puts pressure on the defense on that back end, man. Really makes it tough on you. So it'll be really interesting to see if Ohio State can really stop that Oregon running game and make them one-dimensional and put it all on Dylan Gabriel. I do think he's a good quarterback. Is he good enough to throw this team to victory all by himself? I'm not sure about that. I think he has the ability to do it, but I'm not sure if he will be able to do that. On defense, Mateo Ugalele, 10.5 sacks, 13 tackles for loss. Jordan Birch, 8.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss. So those two guys can really generate pressure and make it tough on Will Howard up front. And they got Jabbar Muhammad on the back end, which we know Ohio State brings out a very talented Jeremiah Smith, freshman. So Oregon has a kid that they can put on him to make it tough on him and Jabbar Muhammad. His kid is a good defensive back. His kid is a good defensive back. So this is a great matchup when you really look at it on paper. It's a great matchup, man. One that everybody is going to enjoy. Like I say, rematch from earlier in the season. And it's tough, man. It's tough. I want to say Ohio State just because of the sheer physicality that I know that they bring to the table. But I know how explosive this Oregon team can be. And this is really a pick'em game, man. It's really a pick'em game, but something in me is leaning towards Ohio State. Something in me is leaning towards Ohio State. I feel like Ohio State will get it done this time. They faced adversity throughout this season and overcame it. Oregon, undefeated, really hasn't faced any really adversity this year. They have some close games. They have some close games where they had to really pull it out. But I think this Ohio State team really pulling together and rallying around Ryan Day, because he knows they talking about his job is on the line, could potentially be on the line, and all these other sort of things. I think Ohio State is really going to muster it up. And I believe that this $20 million roster shows up again. I believe that they show up again because with the way they can run the ball, with Quinshon Judkins and Trevion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins catching the ball in the backfield to go along with the Jeremiah Smith, who we know is kid's a generational weapon, with Emeka Abuka, who we know also makes plays for Ohio State on the outside. And I feel like Ohio State defense really shows up, man. I feel like they show up. They make it hard on Oregon to run the ball, and they have to put the ball in Dylan Gabriel's hands. But those Oregon receivers have tremendous speed, man. And we all know speed levels the playing field regardless of what the skill gap may be. Not saying that those guys aren't skilled and they're not able to run routes, but we're just saying that speed, man, is a killer, man. But Ohio State has Caleb Downs on that back end. They got Caleb Downs in that back end. Great safety, one of the best in the nation. So I believe this game comes down to who can control the line of scrimmage. Who can consistently control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball to run the football or allow their quarterback to make plays, and which defense is going to generate a turnover. I believe a turnover will be the difference in this game. Whichever one of these defenses can generate a turnover, a strip sack, a scoop and score, a pick six, that will be the difference in this game. So, and when we discuss it like that, I believe in Ohio State's defense more. I just believe in Ohio State's defense more. Not saying the Oregon defense doesn't have the ability to make plays and make stops, but I just believe that Ohio State's defense is better. And I think they will come to play, and they will do just enough to allow this offense to get going and really leave their mark on this game, man. This is going to be a great one. It's going to be a good one. It's like I say, it's a pick 'em. There is no wrong answer when it comes to picking this game, but it's just something that's making me lean Ohio State. But I would say my head is saying Oregon because the speed that Oregon has at receiver, and it's just it's ridiculous. It's crazy, and it's tough to stay with that, man. They put a lot of pressure on a secondary, on a defense. Period. When they are running the ball efficiently, it's tough to stop. This team isn't undefeated for no reason, but it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a great one, and we'll see how it turns out, man. And like I always say, man, let me know comments, concerns, what I'm wrong about, what I'm right about. Please let me know in the comment section. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, man. Let's continue to try to grow this fan base, man. And I appreciate you taking time out of your day to join me to just talk about football in this great grand scheme of life. We talking about a game that we all love, man. We all love to talk about, and we all love to see how it's gonna play out on that field, man. Cause that's why they play the game, point blank period. Regardless of all these numbers we just talked about and what I just said, this person, that person, it don't mean a thing. It don't mean a thing when they line it up and really get the effect and tell their story and affect the outcome of the game. Because you're gonna have guys showing up to make plays that we didn't even discuss, or guys that we discussed not having the game that you thought they was gonna have. And that's the beauty of football, man. That's the beauty of this game. That's why these coaches game playing all week, 2 weeks in advance sometimes, and get out here and see what they can really do, man. So, look, it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate anybody even if you watch it for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, if you just click on it, man, I really appreciate that, man. Just like, comment, subscribe, and let's try to get this channel going, man. And in the future, I will be uploading more content throughout the week. So, yeah, man, I appreciate you. Like I say, this has been the Locker Room. I'm your host, Kalal, KT, Y.M.E, whatever you want to call me. Just make sure you call me, man. All right, I'm out. Y'all be blessed.